Okay, so this is kind of the new setup right here. The Dilla book's just here because it's one of the ones I still reading. Haven't finished it all this time. I'm very slow, I guess, at reading. I don't, especially if I want to comprehend and understand it. This is the Arturia Keylab 49 MK2. And what I like about it is sometimes I want to jump between Logic, or if I want to use Ableton, mostly Ableton, but if I want to use Logic, I have both abilities to use either or a DAW or even other DAWs too later down the future. So it's not like I'm limited. I have not really messed with the tracks here generally, and I'm not really messed with the faders nor the knobs, though I think that's a great thing to have. I think the controls is what motivates me more so than anything. The pads are actually pretty decent, though I will say you do have to go in and map them to the DAW, because the way, I mean, you don't have to, but if you don't want to start with one up here, I don't like the way they did that. I'm usually used to the ones down here being the way I like it, but you know what? I say that, and then the SP is 1 through 16 starting up here down, right? So it's the same thing as this, but I like to put my kicks and everything on the bottom. I don't usually touch the top unless I'm putting some percussion up there or something. So I prefer to have it down here. The sensitivity, you can map it in the Arturia MIDI control app or control software that they have. That's free. That's a part, well, it ain't free, but it's part of it. You know how it goes. I like the wheels on this one. They're very sturdy, though they're very small, which I actually appreciate that too. And another thing about this board I like is that it's really thin. It's like thin. So it's got the little wood grain on the side, which is kind of cool. And the keys are actually, I would say they're semi-weighted. They're not synth, but they're somewhere between that, between synth and semi-weighted. Definitely not synth though, because synth, like the Novation keyboards are more synth to me. They're very easy to push down, but this one is actually nice. The keyboard that you see in the previous video, it was a used one given to me for free. It was Studio Logic SL990 XP. I know it's a lot to say in a mouthful, but the problem was it had, even though I love the keys and it was a Fatara keyboard, there was 2 keys on it that were dead. So I ended up just giving it back to the person who gave it to me. It wasn't like I got charged for it, so it wasn't a big deal. I just gave it back to them just in case they wanted to do away with it themselves. This is sitting on a stand, and now I can't remember what the name of the company was. It's a budget one off of, it's not budget, but it was a nice one off of Amazon. And it's, what I liked about it mostly is that it has locks on the wheel. It has wheels, first of all, and then it has locks on the wheels. Here, I can move this so you can see it. You can kind of see down there. It's got locks on the wheels, so it can fit the larger keyboards. It's also very adjustable, so you can adjust it and it on, well, you can't really see it now that I put this back on here, but if you look right there, there is a headphone stand. So I can just put the headphones there, and it takes them all the clutter off of the desk now. So it's a lot more, in my opinion, a lot more clean looking. Everything looks cleaner. I'm not so stressed about up here, even though I could pull this out further. If I sit down, it's not that bad. I'm so used to using this, I'm trying to force myself to use the buttons, because all these buttons work really well. And I literally plugged in and it works that well. You got the view, so you can change. You're not going to be able to see all this. This view button is supposed to be for you to change your view from different screens. In Ableton, it's pretty much just your mixer view or session view versus arrangement view. I'm in the arrangement view most of the time. I hardly ever use that. So who knows, maybe you'll map it somewhere else. These arrows here let you go between tracks, or you can press the tracks over here and do the faders if you want. I probably, again, won't use that. If I need to go between tracks, I'll just use this. You have a punch in and out. This is your metronome, which is cool. You can turn it on and off. Undo. I usually do Command Z, which is what I'm used to, but now I can just press undo on here if I make a mistake and just re-record. It does have the arm I don't really know what re-enable means. I'll have to figure that out. Obviously, I know what record, mute, and then you have a solo. So you have your mute, solo, record all right there, your arm. And then I'm going to figure out what, let me see. Let me just press it and see what it does. What did that do? To be honest with you, I don't know what it's doing. It doesn't look like it's doing anything to me at the moment. If I were to map it to anything or could figure out how, I would do it through the MIDI control. I would probably use it as the capture MIDI button, because I don't have one of those, and it'd be nice to have, not have to touch the thing, to just take the capture MIDI or whatever I play when I'm not, tied to something. So this is a song I'm working on. This is a very slow tempo. I'm using 54 BPM. I would have done it at halftime, but I kept screwing up because for some reason, when it's that slow of a tempo and I'm playing halftime, I don't know why, but I just can't get it. I might be able to practice it, but for some reason I was struggling with it. So I was like, forget it. I'm just going to play it in 54. At least then I know exactly where I'm supposed to be. So anyway, never mind. What else would I tell you? Like I said, the drums were pretty good. Oops. You're still going to have to use the keyboard to some degree. It's just what it is. I'm shaking the whole table. I don't know why, because this is not even connected to the table. So you see it works pretty good. I'm really trying to downsize and not keep a lot of stuff. You notice there's something missing in here, and I know a lot of people probably going to leave after this moment. But yeah, there's no more OP1 field. I actually sold it. Part of the reason was I was primarily using it as a MIDI controller. I was rarely using it to actually make music in it, nor was I recording much out of it. And I found myself, while I enjoyed it and it's cool and it was super nice, it sounded good, everything about it I still love it. I don't hate it or anything like that. But I just found myself not using it that much. And this was a lot cheaper, so I would get more use out of this and I'm a person where I'm not cheap, but I'm frugal, and I'd rather spend the money elsewhere and put it on something I would actually use. So this was a third of the cost, if not even that. It was probably like a fourth of the cost. So why not, right? I kept the SP. I was debating on letting it go at first, I'll be honest, because I knew if I got this keyboard and the pads were decent, which they are, and it has the same settings in here that you can do, the only thing I would be missing from the SP at that point would be the nostalgia of having an SP and maybe the effects. But I have all the MPC effects that they came out with on the Lo-Fi, or it's not even effects, it's more like sort of like effects, yeah, like the vinyl effects. I have all that in here already between RC20 as well as Excite Audio, as well as the Flavor Pro from the MPC. I have that too, but I've kept it because it is something that if I ever record, I do like doing the drums in here. But I will say this, like, if this works for me really, really well down the line, it may be something that you don't see much of. The other thing that I've been debating on letting go of, and you guys have seen me use it, is my iPad mini. If I keep it, I'd keep it with the SP, and maybe for like, if I wanted to travel and do something, I could use it with that. But to be honest with you, I rarely pick it up. I've used it a couple times recently to film something, like if I'm showing you something on the iPhone, but I can always record directly on the iPhone. So this is like, definitely, if it's a farewell to the OP1 field, possibly a farewell to the iPad, and maybe the SP down the road too, just because they're just items that are just paperweights at this point. I mean, it's not that they're bad. They're just not something I'm personally using. I'm finding everything in the Ableton Live. I'm getting all my use out of that. And this keyboard is basically giving me my wheels now. Giving me my wheels, that's funny. But giving me the pitch wheel, the mod wheel that I need. I have all my stuff that I usually use on here. Most of the things that I use the most of I already have them on desktop. So it's not like I'm searching for anything new, to be honest with you. It's just a matter of using it now. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. You'll probably start seeing it. You might see some new things that I'm gonna get into. Maybe we'll see how I feel about it. I am gonna get an audio interface, though. I've found lately I have not used an audio interface at all. In fact, what you're hearing now, if I press, I have two studio monitors, right? And then this is just the 3.5 from the MacBook Pro 16 going out to those. And I find that the MacBook Pro 16, not only are the speakers phenomenal that are built in here, right around on top, but the external is amazing. And by the way, the external output on the MacBook, the newer MacBooks too, the M2s, are just as good, if not the same. I think they're the same, actually. So whatever the case may be, you really don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to go with the Pro. You could go with the Air. I think it's 13.6 inches or something like that. So you could get the Air if you wanted that one and just use the external out, put some headphones into it, or if you have monitors, put your monitors in, and you can be just as good. You're not going to be missing a beat. So for me, one of the keeps on the SP, since I'm talking about, obviously this video is turned into this, one of the reasons to keep this would be using the input to record guitar, because I don't have another source to record guitar through. So that's something I got to consider. I am thinking about just getting an audio interface, because I think it would be wise to probably do that and have the ability to plug straight in to something and record directly into the computer. So that is something I'm considering, but the SP can serve as that temporarily. But if I ever want to get the mic on here, it's okay. I wouldn't per se want to record vocals or anything like serious through it. Not that you couldn't, but you know that you're getting a 16-bit audio from it. You're not getting the higher quality audio from it, because that's what this does, is 16-bit. So something to think about. But I still love the SP, and I still love the OP. I ain't gonna lie, the OP1 is still dope, but it's just not a necessity. So that being said, I'm all for this keyboard so far. Haven't found anything. I've only had it like less than a day. But so far it's been a really treat, and I put my hands on some in the store, so I've been able to know. I knew kind of what the key bed felt like, the pads. I kind of had an idea. Just, it's not the same as when you bring it home and you start playing it, you know? So anyway, just wanted to kind of update. This is kind of more like an update workflow type thing. What I have not tried and what I'm thinking about doing is, if in fact I do keep the iPad, the mini, which probably might happen, I will want to get some kind of way to get this to be USB, Bluetooth out to that, because I don't like plugging in directly. It takes up the charge space for it. And also I will always continue to record on my iPhone, which has almost the majority of the apps that I really use are on there. Oh, by the way, Tonality is getting some updates, and we'll talk about that a little later. There's one coming sooner than later that actually they posted on their own site, so you'll see that one where you can use live instruments and pull the chords from it. So that's kind of cool. What else? And there's a big update that's going to come on it down the road. I've seen it already, but I can't tell you about it until the dev decides he's going to release it. And when he releases it, then we'll talk about it some more then. So that's going to be something coming up that makes the iPhone users going to make them happy, I think. and we'll talk about it a little later, especially those with tonality, or maybe, you wanting the scalar. I'll just give you a hint. You wanting the scalar vibes, but scalar is not coming to the iPhone according to the dev. From when I asked about it, at least they said no. So yeah, so tonality is gonna be pretty nice. So you'll see. But anyway, moving on past that. Yeah, so it's good. Things are gonna get better. I'm gonna try to figure out some other things that I can bring into here, maybe to introduce you to. I would like to show you some things on the computer. I got to figure out how I'm going to record the computer, because though I know you can do a screen record, I think it will require some editing on my part to do voiceovers to explain everything. Or I would have to record on the iPhone to get the voice portion of it, and then just match it up with the computer screen recording, something like that, I think, to make it work so you could see it. But yeah, I really enjoy recording on the computer more. I think the power's there. My sounds are there. I have a lot of plugins that are a top quality plugin that I think that gives the sound a little bit better. And so it'd be fun to just talk about some of that. Though I know most people are used to the iPad and the iPhone stuff that I do. I'll still continue to do those things. That's not going anywhere. It's just that I got to do other things to stay motivated. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I'm just not feeling the iPad, and sometimes I'm not feeling like doing nothing on the iPhone. So I'll use, by the way, Koala is on the MacBook, and I think recently they put out a beta version or something for the Windows. So if you get it, and I don't know if it's free, but I know the one on the Mac was free for a while. So grab it if you can. If you got a MacBook, if you don't, grab the Windows one, because it's fun to use it on there too. And if you have a phone, the cool thing is especially if you're on Apple rather, you can always airdrop a project to Koala on there and finish it on the Mac, or you can even start something on the Mac and then finish it in your DAW or whatever. Mix and master it in your DAW, however you want to do. Anyway, some good things coming. We'll see what else comes out that may intrigue me to entertain. And I still will do some SP404 videos. So I'll probably maintain holding on to this for a little while, because I want to do some more videos. I want to see what Roland is going to do, because it's been a little bit since we've gotten an update. The last one gave us that step sequencer, which was really nice. But there are a few things quirky things that would be nice to see them fix. And we talked about that in a previous video. So I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and end it right there. We're about 18 minutes deep. I've talked about a lot, and hopefully I've piqued some of your interest that we're going to do some other things. For those that love the OP1, I'm sorry, but I have to feel like I'm using the item enough, more than just a MIDI controller, to justify putting it on the channel. So I did do a couple videos to kind of show you the use case of it. And they're going to add to it more, I already know. So as you go on, check out Chord Master. He's going to be doing it. Check out Henny the Business. He'll be putting stuff out, I'm sure. And those guys are always putting stuff out, and they're both still using the OP1 field. Well, got to run. That's it for this one. I'm out.